Hello everyone, Namaste. Myself Ganesh, I am a sculptor, PhD scholar. Part of the creative community, we are promoting art appreciation and sharing artist voices, expressions to the wider public. Today, welcome to a very special episode, master series of our art podcast. We celebrating the life and legacy of late P.T Reddy Garu, one of India's most visionary modern artists, who lived from 1915 to 1996. His story is full of inspiration and depth. He lived through British rule, India's independence, and exciting years of post-independence. Over his lifetime, he experimented many mediums and techniques, created more than 3,000 artworks, exploring painting in watercolors and oil colors, printmaking, etching, murals, and sculptures. His daughter, Dr. Lakshmi Reddy Garu, a retired NIFT professor, herself an artist. Together we explore master artist journey as an artist, a father, and a creative seeker. So let's begin this master journey into colors, symbols, and the soul of Indian modern art.
Subject where figuratives are more known for his style of work. During 60s, he had come up with lot of figurative works where you can see the vibrancy in his color sense. His compositions were full of colors, and if you look at some of his works, his memories, which was revolving around the rural scenario because he comes from a farmer's background, he still had lingering memories of the being in village and then place. So you can see some of the subject matter here, a panchayat in a village where a group of people sitting and taking a kind of justifying, discussions about the issues in the village. You can very suggestive figurations are being used, and muted colors are being used, not too bright, but overall it's more of harmonious colors which are used. Harmonious colors are being. And if you look at another one here, how a play of light has made an effort to group them together. How alloy is being used to make a kind of a shape which picked up the figures at one go as a group, uniting as a dominant character. And another one, if you look at your right side, majorly the affection of mother is shown, the way the mother is making the child sit on her lap, and use of red and white, showing the play of light on the figure. And
very interestingly, then the vertical strokes of a bold stroke.
Yes, indicates
the bold and
yes, yes. And also, if you look at the kind of line, sometimes he's taking the advantage of white to show the continuity of the figure line as well as the repetition of the white, so that there is a good moment in the composition as such.
So which medium this is?
This is in oil color, and you can see the broad application of pigment, so freely utilized, and semi-abstract we can say, because some of the details are not been totally rendered. And towards your right, there is a very interesting transparency period that he had worked on. He had used a jute canvas as the base in here, and where transparent application of oil painting over it, suggestive black line is being used to describe the facial features and expression, and very subtle tonal values are used to show the modeling of the face, you can see. And besides that is two sisters, where you can see the facial features not totally described in with detail, but the eyes, though being black, filled with black, still the expression, one can see the feeling or expression of the characters. And again here it is a distortion. From here you can see how a forceful a line has changed. Delicate to, though delicate, but still there is a swiftness in the line quality. There is a speed. When a dancer is dancing, there is a speedness within the dancer. So that speed he has expressed through the line, and as well as a gesture. The gestures, the body movement while she's dancing is being showed very well. The expressive quality of the dancer is well expressed, though simply used in terms of yellow, light yellow ochre and against the black line. I don't think post-impressionism. Yes, he has been I don't see influence, but he had imbibed and made his own way of using the color. So he's not totally looked into expressive or realistic. And application of pigment, if you look at it, there's a dabs of colors, not blended completely.
Yeah.
There is a separation of color treatment, yet there's a harmonious flow from one color to the other.
Usually blend and they created a 3D
Normally
nicely
blending,
thing,
yes.
but he is like a
Blending will be invisible, but here the application is side by side.
Side by side. Beautiful.
Here you can see the blend
Yes.
of color. If you look at it, it's a much later period. If you look at it, here also the children playing where the colors so brightly, when you look in on the stage, when the nowadays disco players, you see the the color,
The neon
the light too dominating, like that. The play of light is being used here as to his advantage, to utilize the colors to best depict the background as well as foreground. In the process, he's coming up with abstraction.
Yeah.
If you look at it in general, there is a figure. And look at the gesture. If you look at the gesture, the person is just raising his head up and the neck is elongated. Even the figure, the trunk, the thorax is been elongated. So what is it doing? The elongation is not creating a disturbance to the eye, but he's able to balance the color and the drawing and the composition well associated with this distortion. So he's also slowly arriving at abstraction system by applying color in putting side by side, and at the same time distortion is entering into the distortion of the figuration.
So here we are seeing is clearly is a style of human anatomy, exaggerated and ties and the facing. Beautifully here, not only the human is the same stylistic applied in animals.
Yes, whichever imagery he's taking, he's trying to exaggerate or extend to his advantage of adding to the compositional values. Here, if you look at it, there's a verticality to the horizontal composition.
Yeah.
By using horizontal, bulls, he has made the one of the bull raising its head. So it's breaking the monotony of horizontality, making it look into the tail is leading your eye to the human figures, and then they are walking again. So it's making a kind of a movement within the composition as such. So
this is a beautiful, from the composition perspective, as you mentioned, horizontal and vertical. How he balanced it. So he played forms and composition, colors. Very interesting.
He's known for his colors and composition, where he used to analyze whether he's how the other group of artists are also working, so that he's not to the same but he's different. So there is a uniqueness in his way of treating the figures, in his way of using the colors, the way the outline is being treated to the figure, or the images, whichever the image that he takes, he comes up with this apt elongation or apt distortion, not deviating totally from the standards of the art as such, but adding value to the composition and the subject as such.
Yeah.
And if you look at the blue, it's totally monochromatic, but here and there to break the monotony, had used yellow ochre somewhere to give the dimensional quality. If you look at the figuration, 4 figures, but each figure is looking at a different direction. So that is adding, though it's all vertical, but the direction of the face is making us move from one to another, so to break the monotony. And a monotony in terms of color, monochromatic, is given yellow ochre touches here and there.
Yes, there's 4 figures are showing 4 different
light,
things. Yeah.
yes.
So
here again, coming from the rural atmospheric, inspiration where he grew up, and coming to the literary readings. Since as I told you, my mother being a lecturer in Telugu, she used to read all literary books to teach the students. So this is one of the epic story, Raghuvamsha, where he had depicted Raghuvamsha story.
So literary
influenced to come up with a narration, because for any artist, if is able to integrate, it needs to be integrating to different cultures, different disciplines. That helps him to come up with a different content matter, how that content is helping him to come up with the images, and how those images can be displayed in a space or a composition, and how that composition is able to communicate to the viewer, whether it's a story or whether it's a compositional values, how effective it is making the viewer to be intrigued in to know what it is like, yes, what is it doing, how is it going, so you start questioning. You start want to know more, inquisitive about what the story could be. So that is also one of the function of the artist, that what is he trying to say, what is he communicating. That is the essence of what the artist can do or is doing. Coming to this work, this is purely the palette knife drawing. If you look at the exaggerated form, the family composition, you can see the outline is being partially done with the brush, but the rest is totally done with the palette knife, where while the pigment is wet, the palette knife actually picks up the pigment and makes the kind of void.
Palette knife is a technique?
A palette knife is a tool. While mixing, while applying the pigment, artists tend to use the palette knife to mix the pigments. So that has a little sharp edge on top. So that will become a kind of a tool for the artist to experiment. While experimenting, making marks, he would see how best he can utilize that tool to take away the pigment. So the ground material is seen, or the underlying layer is seen, so that stands out against the color which is already applied. So one of the technique that one can employ is to remove the pigment, but yet adding a value to the composition.
Adding the color and removing the color using those
palette knife, yes, while drawing.
That's give a strong.
See, if you look at the colors, which is in blue, right? This is a blue, this is a lighter blue, and black he has given as an outline to enhance the figuration. Is one side is his challenge. Another side is how to blend that black against the background is another challenge. To blend both is to take out some element of black. Though there is a black outline given, he's taking some element of black out of it, so that there's a very good blend between the lighter values of blue and the darker values of blue. So he's able to try to bring the form out of the picture space.
This is a period of 1964.
60s. So he had explored several techniques in 60s. So he made that medium, the technique, the imagery, his way to express.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. So, after creating over 250 plus videos and engaging in countless conversations with creative leaders from around the world, I'm thrilled to share my book, Notes of Wisdom Lessons from 100 Creative Visionaries. So, this book is labor of love that has deeply resonated with the community, entering into Amazon's bestseller list and reaching the top 3 on hottest new release list. So, what makes me proudest is that many creative leaders have read this book and shared their remarkable perspectives on this book. The best thing about this book is its price. It's just priced around 500 rupees because this isn't about making profits, but it's about spreading a movement. So these pages contain transformative insights that can reshape you how you see the world through the lens of design. So find your copy on Amazon, available on worldwide, and on India we have Flipkart. So thank you so much for your support. Please share this book with someone whose life might be enriched by these creative insights. So together, let's champion the truth that design isn't just a profession or a skill, it's a beautiful way of living a life.
Art historian says 1960s and 70s is a crucial
Yes, period for
yes. Art movement.
Yes. And each artist were trying to do their best at that point of time, because that was a shift from Swadeshi movement and standing up above being an Indian and standing as an individual and standing against other artists is a kind of challenge. So how do I survive? How do I put my language in? What is my language? So one tries to explore, find, experiment, and see which one is right for me.
So individual style, individual identity in visual language.
Searching their language, dialect rather.
Dialect, yeah. Now here maybe could you explain a couple of works which are close to Mr. P.T Reddy garu?
I suppose he really enjoyed
all the works,
majority of the works, and that had led him to come up with the abstraction, where he had also explored quite a bit. At every end of one genre, he had entered into abstraction. He wanted to be freely working, no imagery, just a free flow of colors. Like that, every set of work he had explored with abstraction. Maybe that could be the kind of a break from the subject matter that previously he was working. So that gives a way to a new thought, way to a new inspiration. That's how the artist works. And he had taken off from there again, looked for some new inspiration and worked further. So that happened almost like 3 to 4 phases of abstractions are there in his lifespan of work. So while going, we can see.
Yeah, could you talk about this Indira Gandhi work?
Yes, this is one of the work made earlier. Actually, they thought of Mrs. Gandhi was supposed to give the live sitting due to some appointments she couldn't. Only 3 artists were chosen from India to make her portrait. So he worked with the photographs. Here his attempt is to depict the portraiture in a miniature style, which he calls that his way of using the portraiture composition. So here if you look at it, it's a realistic approach of rendering the whole human form. In certain drapery he had used flat, but total background is in flat treatment and lifted perspective. So he had very well blended the realistic approach of portraiture with the background. So flat background. At the same time,
of patterns and miniature style of.
He has used the geometric pattern behind, so that there is a very interesting composition throughout. Your eye tends to move out, not only just focus on her, but at the same time the entire background enhances her the portrait.
The choosing yellow on the background of red also.
Yes,
it's
the color combination.
Character of,
yes, giving a darker background against the light, which makes the portraiture stand out. The form that stands out. If you look at it, the whole drape or the stature, I mean the gesture that she is with, it is in a L manner. And that L manner is again broken with the drape of the sari, right? And then against that, one has used the vertical lines, lines, and the pattern behind the jali, the pattern, and the tree. Look at the flow of the tree branches, which are without the leaves, non-decorative. Just the branches are adding a value to the portraiture, and the little vase as a still life is being utilized.
A greatly portrayed of a Charmasic character, Indira Gandhi.
Yes. After this is done, in 80s.
80s.
Yeah. So after some months, I think she was being assassinated. And usually used to do two works. One is in National Gallery of Modern Art, and one he wanted to keep it here since it's going to be as a museum. So for an educational purpose, how the portraiture can be.
What exactly National Modern Art Gallery?
National Gallery of Modern Art has a collection of major Indian artists of the times. So usually every year they used to offer artists to submit some work, so that out of that they used to buy. That was a norm earlier, but now it isn't happening. Maybe because of funds, I don't know. Government used to encourage artists by doing that. That collection is being maintained by National Gallery of Modern Art, where they keep rotating the artists' works and keep exhibiting.
So you mean P.T Reddy Gari,
some of the works, almost 100 above are there.
100 plus of works exhibited in new
collection are in NGMA. Yeah.
So there's a good time. People are in New Delhi. They can go and visit there.
They're not always displayed, but they are in their collection. Whenever they have a rotation of change of paintings, they would hang it, or otherwise exhibition. Yes.
Yeah. This is about
and starting from here, if you can look at it, it's the image of Nehruji, the first Prime Minister of India after the independence. And he was a person who had made an effort to give a specific day for respecting children. So since he had an exposure in other countries, so he thought, why not to do that in India? And then 14th November is almost, is Children's Day.
His birthday.
He likes children as well. So that's on that particular day he thought of painting. If you look at it, it's not totally a photographic realistic setup, but a more expressionistic in terms of how children feel or be, and then are as in groups and as well as individuals with Nehruji.
Yeah.
It's again blue.
All the children are holding a flower.
Yes, because he usually used to have a rose on his sherwani. So sherwani being his Indian costume. So he used to wear sherwani, and on that he used to have always a rose, because it signifies peace to him, and it signifies the spirit, or flower always has that to grow, to open up, to learn. So that is the significance of having one.
So this is one of the work of Nehru series.
Like that, we have political series as well, which we would be seeing upstairs as we go on. And now, since we are here at the place of Ganesha.
This is dedicated to a team.
Totally, as I told you, each room is dedicated to one kind of subject. Here you are able to see different kinds of Ganeshas being treated in different mediums and techniques. At the age of 80, he had worked, 79, 80, he had worked in 2.5 months around global. So it was his last exhibition where Alain Francais had sponsored his solo show at Hyderabad. And in Ravi he had this show there.
Mhm.
So it was a very good experience.
These are the later works.
I mean, almost last. After
Almost.
this, he had again shifted to abstract.
Mhm.
He had done a couple of works in abstract as well. I don't say this is the last, second last, I should say. Yeah.
So he explored different treatment and figurative, many stories.
If you look at the more of a folk, also he had looked at
Mm.
how in rural villages how Ganesha is being treated, how Ganesha is being treated as a little Ganesha or a little elephant animal god.
Mm.
So he has taken that also into consideration. And apart from that, there's a contradiction. I mean, contrast to that. He studied ethical stories how Ganesha emerged, and in my Puranas, I also know, got to know, he researched quite well to come up with this content, like how Ganesha's mother, Parvati, how Parvati had given birth to Ganesha. What was the kind of a story lineage also he had tried to depict? And if you look at
And
this,
very
also,
interestingly, sorry, interrupting. Very interestingly showed father and mother and child of Ganesha.
It's a Shiva Shakti. Parvati, we call it as Shiva and Shakti, isn't it? It's a Shakti by itself, mother god. So how a mother is being depicted, Ganesha is being depicted sitting, sitting on the lap of Parvati.
You grew up with the P.T Reddy Garu as a father, as an artist. So how is taking inspirations? One is you mentioned literature.
Yes.
The comparing with your mother, and another one is taking political and social. Uh, similar way, what was his routine when you start his work?
He used to early riser. He was an early riser, and he was very balanced life he has, and then he never neglected the family. In fact, he used to be helping hand in making the day smoothly go, and he was never an irresponsible father. He was very affectionate, very loving, and kind in that matter. And then he used to help. His routine was from 9 to 7. He has to dedicate his time for art. And morning he used to get up, go for a walk, get some vegetables or fruits, and then help my mother in cutting the vegetables. All of us used to work in the kitchen and so on, and then go down to work. Since he had the experience of furniture designing, he used to have the carpenter from 9 to 5. So he used to assign the work to him, this or that, making the frames or making some utility object in the required area. So that's how he used to work along with the carpenter, his work, and the family aspects. So it's not separate. He doesn't shut down and then sit there.
Well balanced, personal and professional, and creative way, inspiring many things.
Yes, and not that he used to sit with one work and complete. Rather, he used to work with several works at a time, and one after the other.
That was a style. That was another question I want to ask. Yes. Usually, artists have a different approach. Maybe start one work, they finish, and they move into other work. And I see that these thousands of works, how he did.
Actually, he's very prolific that way. He has a high energy. That's how I get inspired from. He never used to sit, except for half an hour afternoon nap. He used to start his work, let's say bigger works, he would take up at a time 4 to 5. And then he used to go back to the one, and then whenever he's satisfied,
do the 4-5 work.
Yes, whichever is not satisfying, he takes it up and then completes it. In the meanwhile, he evaluates, or he comes up with the judging, and he comes up with the analyzing whether did I do this or not. And for that, after his work is over by 7, 6 or 7, he brings the work to our living area, or he asks us to come down to check whether, which one is good or not, asking us the feedback. Whether my younger one, when they were small kids, even them they used to ask. Which one is looking good for you, and so on and so. He never minded who that person is. He never minded the age also. He just wanted to have the feedback, the critical analysis. That's what I say is art artist. One needs to be
the nature of artist.
Yes, critical in terms of analyzing, not being critical in a negative sense, critical in a reflecting sense. So whether this is working or not, how did I apply the elements? Did I produce, the process was good? Did I did not do that process, that step well? So all these analytical aspects will come to a kind of a evaluating system. So that evaluation makes you to stop there, rectify, or add, or give some time and then do it later. So you are able to evaluate oneself. I mean, art is such a scenario where it allows you to reflect, allows you to judge, comes up with a kind of analytical power. Accepting is one, and forgoing, I mean, letting go. That are the things which one learns, and also perspective. When he's asking the feedback by others, he's also looking at the perspective, accepting the perspective of others and how they are interpreting. So that is also is able to take in and then move forward.
Now I understand the way of his expression, why how he bring the different concepts. One thing, and very good insight, that was when we are in the creative process, we stuck somewhere. It's a painful process. We never did before, but we're experimenting. Sometimes we fail. But if you're parallelly doing the work, you stuck somewhere, you start another work.
Very courageous that way. Very courageous, and he was a risk taker.
Risk taking. And another thing, as you mentioned, collect the feedback. It will help see the others' perspectives and reflections. It's very good insights, man. Please describe the artwork.
And these are all the figurative works. If you can see, most of them are rural subjects. When I say that an artist takes the subject, either he uses his imagination, which is connecting to his memories, down to his childhood, where he is associated with a certain culture. So that is making him to get attached to that subject and does more. So because he's moved out of the village and is still associated with a village. So maybe that is one where he had wanted to connect. So he's picking up rural subjects and then depicting. That's one aspect. Another is coming to the city and using the puppet shows.
This puppet one, show. Puppet shows. That is a popular.
In rural villages we have.
Villages.
And affection of mother and child, and the animal care for the animals. We see that in villages. Here we see it in terms of our pet animals, but they are we pray like gods, right? We take care of them so well, and these two are our companions in rural areas, isn't it?
True.
Cogs
and
they are alive, And remember, in Hyderabad, we have a very interesting festival after Deepavali. Third day after Deepavali, Baral Pandaga antam manam. Ikkada jarptara Govardhan puja roju avutadi annamata. Ikkada Narayanguda ee street lo avutadi. Inka ekkada kaadu. Ikkade avutadi. సో అన్ని ట్రాఫిక్ అంతా బంద్ చేస్తారు. ఈ రోడ్ అంతా ఇంకా బుల్స్ ని డెకరేట్ చేస్తారు, బఫెలోస్ ని, గొర్రెలను కూడా, షీప్ ని కూడా డెకరేట్ చేసి అటు ఇటు పరిగెత్తిస్తారు వాటిని. ఇంకా ముందైతే జిమ్నాస్టిక్ చేసేవాళ్ళు దాని మీద ఎక్కి, ఇప్పుడు అది అయిపోయింది. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద వన్ విచ్ హి హడ్ యూజ్డ్ యాజ్ సెమీ అబ్స్ట్రాక్ట్ ఫార్మ్.
Abaibala, some that the festival celebrating and that the same festival I think. అదే మన ఈ బఫెలోస్ ని డెకరేట్ చేసి వాటిని జనాల ముందు తీసుకొచ్చారు. బెస్ట్ ఉన్న వాటికి అవార్డు ఇస్తారు.
This is a puppet show. You can see the forceful use of line. We were talking about the line earlier in earlier works. Now you can see the swiftness of line, the speed of the line, the force of the line is expressing the facial, inner expression కనపడుతుంది చూడండి.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you can see some of the sculptures here where he used to go to the market and get the logs and then start carving, taking the removing the parts and making the voids in between and then making the sculpture.
So wood carving. Naturally found some logs.
He used to go to the market and then get the logs. And then he used to sit down and then draw with the chalk and keep chiseling. Only after that, the age of 65 or so, he started, energy తక్కువ అవడం వల్ల కార్పెంటర్ హెల్ప్ తీసుకున్నారు తప్ప లేకపోతే అతన్ని చిజిల్ చేసేవారు. మెషిన్ లేవు కదా.
Everything is made by own man-made tools. There is no machinery tools for this grinding.
All sandpaper or ఆ టూల్ ఉండేది చూడండి, బర్నిషింగ్ టూల్, అది యూస్ చేయటం తప్ప.
And one interesting thing, ma'am, especially the sculptures, he used even the sculptures also, semi-figure,
abstract. ఇదేమో abstract, అదేమో semi. It's a realistic but not real. See, you don't see wide eye ఇంత ప్రపోర్షనేట్ గా ఐ ఇలాగ ఉండదు. హెడ్ పెద్దగా, ఇది కొప్పు పెద్దగా ఇలా ఉండదు. బట్ హీ మేడ్ అన్ ఎఫర్ట్ టు enlarge, exaggerate. If you look at his own figuration, eyes చూడండి, పెయింటింగ్ లో ఉన్న సేమ్ క్యారెక్టర్.
How explore a 2-dimensional, same thing 3-dimensional also explore. Could you talk about his innovation techniques, especially in wood? He created innovation.
Yes. So here I would say that he had taken, after this abstract works where he had worked in wood, using negative and positive spaces in sculptures like these. After this genre, he had made an effort to come up with a huge sculptures based on the Tantra, the symbolism of Tantra. He has used the three-dimensional aspect of using the symbols in wood, and on that he applied certain textures to bring a quality of a stone in the wooden sculpture. So that was his innovative quality that he brought up. I think downstairs we have seen some.
The work often he showed the Tantra. So this, especially this cosmic energy and symbols and images, how did he arrive in this unique, usual visual identity? That was the P.T Reddy's identity.
Yes. There are two influences. One major influence is my mother, where she was doing research on Telugulo Harivamsham, which is mythological and more of literary Puranas and then Bhagavatam. So in that, she wanted some illustrations for her publication. So during that time, she had to explain the stories relating to that imagery. So that time he had assimilated during that time. Then he had come up with bringing them into essence and then came up with the symbols. That is one. Another is the moon landing situation happened where Americans have landed on the moon with the scientific research.
That is scientific exploration.
Yeah. So that had made him to think how I can combine with the logic reasoning of scientific aspect to the mythical aspect.
Mm.
So that had made him to come up with deriving images, deriving symbols, and applying to one is mythological stories. Another aspect is contexting to the his own experiences about the political changes in the society or societal changes in the sense that had made him to come up with such kind of visuals, where one is more secular, as it comes as Mr. Here
This
you
work,
can see the Nehruji, where you can see the crown on Nehru, and then the rose
symbol
in
of
the
his
center.
power.
Crown is a power, indicating power. It's a symbol for power, and rose indicates the peace. And the squares, which are you are able to see in one after the other, is concentric squares, is a constitution where he had built. And the spiral is thinking. He's thinking whether I'm making the constitution well or not. That is one. Another kind is where constellation. During eclipse time, we do follow certain omens. Eclipse are not good, and so on and so forth. Certain rituals we follow. So the bad eye and good eye and so on. That is one. And also we are told not to see directly. So eclipse is one of the content in here.
Yeah, we would like to know about this sculpture forms, that is now two-dimensional tantric symbols. They converted into the three-dimensional. Could you talk about this?
Yes, here if you look at it, this is again Padma.
Padma.
The Padma symbolizes Brahma also. The Padma is, lotus, grows from a mud and then arises through the water and raises above the surface. Due to sunlight, it opens up. That means the knowledge. Where is it grown and then evolved and then grown through and then opened up? Is the knowledge, the known, coming to learning. When you are learning something, your ignorance is thrown off. So that is the symbol of the flower, the Brahma. So this is how he had also taken certain forms of petals of the flowers, and also the growth, the water, the foresight. The Brahma has 4 heads. So that is one of the symbolism. The chakra, the Bhu chakra, and also one of the symbol here. So this indicates Brahma, and you have the Sri chakra.
Sri chakra is very
aspect,
interesting.
which is simplified in a way. That
We
time
are seeing the Sri chakra as a two-dimensional, but we are seeing here Sri chakra.
That time there were no machinery. He tried to, make the sticks and tie up and apply something and made the sawdust put on it and then tied them to all together to come up with that form. So that was a time where there is no machinery, in fact. So he made an effort to come up with a 3D chakra. And this one is the Shiva cult. Where you can see the symbol of the snake hood and also the linga, and also the third eye, which indicates the consciousness, and the trishula, the weapon of Shiva. And this is been made in 2 canvases. One is in PMO's office, where during Vajpayee he had kept it at the back of him, and one is here. And you can see the
same collection of work. One is in
same work.
Ma'am, I have a question here.
Yeah.
As a creative person, I'm seeing here so many visuals, they're generating, creating so many things. May I know what is the P.T Reddy sir's process? How he do the from conceptual state to finishing the and expected deliverable work?
Yeah.
What is the process he followed?
Yes. He followed, or in general artists, you mean to say?
I mean,
Yeah.
P.T Reddy
He used to actually think what kind of subject one has to take. And so he draws very lightly and loosely on paper, comes up with several sketches, and then he decides what kind of method one has to go, and then comes up with a very doodling, sketchy kind of a work on a paper. And then he decides whether to go for a bigger canvas or smaller. Should I go for a detailed work or should I go for a abstract? So if he's working in the phase of, if he's in the phase of certain kind of treatment, let's say abstract, how am I going to treat with it? Small or big, which medium, and so on. And then after expelling his thoughts onto the manifesting, I would say, manifesting onto the canvas, he would leave it there for a while and comes up with another kind of set of canvases and then starts working. So that he is looking at himself, how parallelly his thoughts are being manifested. So out of that, he starts again exploring, experimenting with one after the other in a series. So while he's working in the process, he would come up with the judgment whether should I treat this in a just this kind of color scheme or monochrome or just leave it like this. So that would give a kind of a trigger to lead to the, it acts like a guideline whether I should treat entire set of works in this manner. So he goes continuously working in a similar way with the next canvases. And he doesn't work consistently on a work continuously. He gives a kind of a gap, leaves it for a while and revisits at it and then evaluates and reflects, thinking that am I done with it or should I take up? Am I communicating better the way I want to communicate? Is my content appropriate to the medium which I am exploring? And am I conveying the best? If my abilities are applied or not? So these are the things which he used to reflect upon much. And then he would stop. And he never took any help at any point of time, whether he did a large canvas or a smaller. Never he took help. Though I was being as a daughter, being trained, he never took any help. While I was studying also, he never touched my canvas. He insisted that I should not participate in competitions because that would curb your individuality or your individual freedom of expression. Competition is always like comparing. That would kill your originality. So he would suspend while I was a child not to participate. And that actually helped me to come up with a good judgment, the value-based judgment. And whenever he had to teach me, he used to have one canvas besides mine, and he would work and I would work separately. He never ever touched, and he was very strict on me learning drawing. I mean, he insists that unless you're good with drawing, do not proceed with the paint. So that way I had learned drawing quite a bit. I used to do several drawings while, in college and otherwise as well.
I'm happy to know about the master artist process, his belief and his philosophy on art. So that's true. We in the competition world, maybe we are missing our own identity. Good to know.
See, competition in a way helps to evaluate your work, not looking at other works. Competition sometimes would make you feel doubt. Or is it the validation always should help you to evaluate your own work? I think if one is confident about their abilities or your
respect your ability, believe your ability, and do.
It's for you. I mean, the painting is for you to express your emotions. So once that is clear, I think you don't have to look for validation.
I think this is a very good suggestion for upcoming artists. People are having so many doubts. I want to follow this style or this style.
I think style అనేది, it should come easily, spontaneously, intriguingly to a person as it is. That will only come at the stage where he's exploring constantly, looking for language. ఇప్పుడు చిన్నప్పుడు when we are given a cycle to cycle or learning a language, spellings, certain vocabulary words we don't know, but we have to expand our vocabulary. So for that we read more stories, we read other kind of books to get more words. Like that, in art also you explore, experiment, do more imagery, more compositions to understand the language. Where do I fit in? So that is that is.
As earlier you mentioned, right, he innovated a technique that was a wood technique. Could you explain
Yeah,
that?
here if you look at it, he had utilized wood as a base, and on top he has utilized the sawdust to give an effect of
It looked like a stone.
Stone. He wanted to use it as because if you look at our heritage culture, architectural heritage culture, each fort has a different kind of stone. Each temple has a different kind of a stone as per the region and as per the stone material available. So that is his inspiration. If you look at the Konark or Orissa, or if you look at the Mahabalipuram or other temples, each one has its own texture, each one has its own color. So he used to also go to temples to sketch. Lot of them. So we used to go along with him. We used to sit at the side and we used to sit there and draw. So that I remember. That is the inspiration that he got.
I understand ancient wisdom, temple art and temple, the building of the formation, that is also inspired for this. Yes.
And this one is the prototype of police memorial, which is now installed.
It's a public sculpture.
Public sculpture, which is there in the Gosha Mahal Stadium, which is of 60 feet high. And
prototype.
This is a prototype. This was given to the maker to make it into a, enlarge it into
scale of 60 feet height,
which is done in concrete there in Gosha Mahal. And upper portion was supposed to be in the brass, but since the economical aspects, I think they have changed it. This was asked by the police that time, officials, to have a memorial, those policemen who have sacrificed during the duty time. So there were 4 different kinds of options of design were given. So out of the 4 options, they have come and selected this one. And if you can look at the form, this is a solid angular cuboidal form, where when you talk about the square solid form, it's police. If you associate with the police thought, policing, it's strong, strict and straightforward. So that is the thought which is symbolically associated with the cubism, cubical form. And coming up with the corrugated is each case or each system is each solution is different. Each problem is different. So that is the idea of giving this texture. And eye is a kind of vigilant eye. They have to be 24 hours vigilant all the time. So eye is one. And the abstraction form is given. Each case is so abstract in the beginning, and they try to solve from all the directions to give a solution. So that is the
it's a beautiful conceptual how the police works and police
yes, actually art process is such that it demands the process. I don't say it demands, rather to arrive at a better good work, we do have to follow those processes to come up with a good work. I mean, standard of work, if you are looking at. So they do a research, they have a plan as to what they have to make, and they do a research and what kind of content or idea that they have to pick up, how to implement that, and what are the limitations of the material if they have to translate that into a material, what are the parameters. So sometimes material parameters also dictate the execution. So these are the issues which are involved in process. So that process has to be considered by the artists to make it as a manifested work.
Wonderful work.
So here are again abstract forms. Yeah, this is again, he got little
It's a
influence,
large.
influence with the Picasso's Guernica, but he didn't follow completely that manner, but he had used the Indian figuration to exaggerate to the maximum, and then it's a dancing figure where he had expressed, looking at the Picasso's exaggerated figure, he had used it here.
Could you talk about this dedicated gallery?
Yes, this is again attached to the previous subject as Tantra. These are the smaller works which where he had got the fellowship from the Culture Department of Culture, Government of India. He in 1978 he had been offered for study research in visual art, where he had taken the Tantra as a subject and then worked extensively. About around 200 works he had worked only based on Tantra. So he had been selected as a fellow in there. So one can see different kind of imageries which are being used as symbols. How he had eloquently played with the symbols and laid down as a, he actually made use of the symbols to come up with a various variety of compositions within the mandala or within the restricted form. If you look at the form here, it's a chakra or the mandala where he had utilized, within that he had put down